A little organization goes a long way. Becoming a straight A student is not so much about study hacks or brutal cramming sessions. The path towards academic success has a lot to do with discipline, time management, organization, and smart study techniques that focus more on comprehension than straightforward memorization. In today's video, we will be discussing some of the strategies that real-time top-scoring students use to get the best possible grades, and which can be found in a book written by Cal Newport titled How to Become a Straight A Student. Today, we will be covering only some of the initial concepts of the book, the so-called study basics. In order to keep this video relatively short, I kept out part 2 and 3, which cover the methods to excel in quizzes and exams and papers and essays respectively. Since the book is rich in advice for college and studying, I highly recommend you to explore the rest of its contents, and if you want to do it for free, stay tuned to the end of this episode. The first thing you need to consider is a simple equation. Work accomplished equals time spent multiplied by the intensity of focus. If you watched last week's video on how to build the perfect study routine, then you've already been acquainted with the concept that studying in short bursts of time in a regular pattern is more important to your information retention than trying to compensate long periods procrastinating with study sessions that last for hours. Effective time management can be achieved in 5 minutes a day, in a system comprised of a calendar where you should schedule specific time events and a list which you should carry with you at all times. The idea is using 5 minutes each morning to write down the list of tasks you have to complete that day and go through the reminders of yesterday to update your calendar each morning. In that way, you create a self-sustaining time management system that relies on simple tools. Basically, as you plan your day, your page or piece of paper should be divided into 2 columns, a list for your today's schedule and a list for things to remember. Today's schedule should be filled with dedicated time slots assigned for specific classes or tasks. Things to remember should be a place where you write down new assignments or tasks that are created during that day and which you need to migrate into your calendar the following morning during your daily 5 minutes of time management. The type of tools you use to achieve this system should take into account your preferences and lifestyle. You can either go digital or analog, opt for a more complex planner or a simple piece of paper folded in your pocket. While scheduling tasks during the day, you should take into account its priority in your overall list. Most important tasks should be tackled first, in case they're not time specific, and less important tasks should be tackled last. If something goes wrong for those less important tasks, you can always migrate them to a later time. Besides that simple hierarchy of importance, it's also crucial to leave enough buffer time in each one of your time slots to anticipate mistakes or delays. Even if you excel at time management habits, beating procrastination is still key to allow you to actually do the stuff. The book discusses 5 main strategies that can help you with this. Keeping a work progress journal where you write down what you worked on or whether you were able to complete all the required tasks. It's basically a habit tracker for your work that relies on a strict method to keep you motivated. Eating the right food and drinking the correct amount of water to boost your levels of energy and focus. Making an event out of worst tasks, which means that you can go to a different place to study, which breaks your routine and creates a sense of novelty. It also allows you to block some time in your calendar since you're going to a different, probably more distant place. Building a routine for daily studying by deciding in which days you will work on specific subjects or topics, at what times and for how long. As work starts transforming into a habit, it will be easier to convince yourself to start studying. Choosing the hard days. This means that when all hell breaks loose, designating a couple of days as hard days will isolate time of high-intensity work from other regular work. A couple of tips for scheduling hard days is informing your close friend that you will be going through a hard study period, as well as scheduling entertaining or relaxing activities right after you finish all of your work. Furthermore, straight A students know when, where, and how long they should be studying. Giving a solid answer to these 3 questions and sticking with them for a long period of time will improve your study routine, and the more consistent your study routine is, the better your results will be. While Cal Newport uses many top-scoring students' feedback to say that early morning is the best time to study, I prefer to recommend you whatever schedule your energy levels are at the highest point, be it night, morning, or afternoon. Regarding the space where you should study, the overall recommendation is to study in isolation, somewhere that improves your focus, eliminates distractions, and separates leisure from work. Regarding the question about how long you should study, we've answered that already in last week's video. No more than 1 hour at a time, depending on your level of motivation and energy. Even when you are on a roll, it's important to take regular breaks and remember to keep your study sessions short overall. If you're interested in this concept, you can actually listen to the entirety of How to Become a Straight-A Student for free in Audible, which is the sponsor of today's episode, and is basically better than ever. Besides getting 1 free audiobook per month, which can be today's book or any other book we've discussed in a past video like Atomic Habits or Deep Work, your subscription will also give you access to 2 Audible originals that you can hear anywhere else, as well as more than 100 audio-guided fitness and meditation programs, and newspapers like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, or Washington Post, all delivered daily for free in your Audible app. Also, if you start listening to How to Become a Straight-A Student in your car, at the gym, or while commuting, and decide you hate it, you can also exchange your audiobook for other audiobook of your choice. No hassles involved. And if you cancel Audible at any time, the library of audiobooks you've purchased will be yours forever. You can start listening to How to Become a Straight-A Student with your 30-day Audible membership, so your first audiobook plus 2 Audible originals are free. You can visit audible.com/Mariana or text Mariana to 500 500 to start listening right now. And if you're interested in these topics, I do a lot of videos on productivity, motivation, and organization, and right now there's a new back to school series going on, so for all the latest content, you can join our community and start your learning journey here by subscribing to the channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye guys!